The Cat Report documents real stories of real predators, as witnessed and captured by a band of obsessive wildlife filmmakers who live and work in the bush 365 days a year. Previously, on The Cat Report, the North Clan's twin royal offspring almost found themselves and their den squashed under giant feet. The Sausage Tree Pride all seem to have moved in independent directions, as they have encountered different opportunities to mate and expand territorial boundaries. Hosana has kept us riveted with his immature hijinks, in between thieving meals from his relatives, or vice versa. While the Queen, Tundi, has taken protecting her daughter and her realm more seriously, and the Duke, Tingana, continued to occupy the throne as the ultimate monarch of Djuma.
Hello and welcome to the Cat Report. We begin this edition in the gorgeous Golden Dawn with Queen Tundi and Princess Tlalamba. They're resting after snacking on a rather unfortunate steenbok that's hanging in a tree not far from here.
It's just too special. It's these rare moments, of course, that just inspire you to put all the hours in to try and find these creatures. She is posing beautifully for you. Sometimes when you drive around and you can't find anything for days on end, and you think, well, perhaps things have changed. Perhaps there just aren't quite so many interesting things out here anymore. And then you have a sighting like this, and everything is returned to the magic of the wilderness. She is a very special cat, our Tundi. They're heading sort of towards the kill. There's not much left of it, though, so I'm not sure how much time they're going to be here. Oh, she's calling her cub again. Tundi, she went the other way. She's behind you.
While Queen and Princess still have a very close bond, as Tlalamba approaches her first birthday, she's definitely starting to show signs of independence. Now, this can be a very difficult period for a young leopard, and we were recently left very worried.
While the separation of mother and daughter is inevitable, the prospect and experience is traumatic. Even the grumpy Queen Tundi, known for her less than patient attitude, could not help but worry about the whereabouts of her princess as the day began to fade over the Kruger woodland. The Queen's persistent searching calls went unanswered, and the coming darkness was an ominous metaphor for Tlalamba's fate.
It was a really tense few days before we enjoyed the relief of the royal reunion. And while the princess is growing up, the mischievousness that gave her her name seems to remain. And while this will almost certainly dissipate as she gets a bit older, I hope she never matures out of her playful ways. Much like the Queen's daughter, the little wafflets with whom Jamie is now visiting also have a long and dangerous road to adulthood. This, despite the golden Mara light in which they find themselves bathed.
We have something so special to share with you that sometimes I even struggle to find the words to describe it. This is what is happening at a hyena den, where a pair of cubs are properly starting to explore the world around them. They're being quite a handful for their mom. They are a bit heart-melting, aren't they? Admittedly, they're going through that somewhat odd-looking stage where their ears are just far too big for their heads. And they're about the size of a chihuahua. You know, not a mini inbred chihuahua, but a sort of standard-sized chihuahua. Would that be a fair assessment, I guess? So they're starting to get quite a lot bigger now. You can really see how they actually encourage each other. We found these cubs them at a week old. Waffles disappeared. We were worried. We followed her when we finally found her, and there she was with these precious bundles. Admittedly, it did take me 3 weeks to realize there were 2 of them. Now, she might not be objectively the prettiest creature in the world, but she's incredibly intelligent, and she comes with a fascinating tale.
The North Clan's old matriarch has lost all of her previous daughters. Until recently, she had no direct heir to the matriarchy. But with her latest litter of 2, Waffles has another chance to extend her leadership lineage. Despite her age, she remains dominant and a fiercely protective mother. Hyena cubs inherit their mother's status. If one of these cubs is female, and Waffles can raise her to independence, there is a good chance she will ascend to the matriarchy. Each week, the cubs grow. The black coats will soon turn to spots, and their personalities are developing the boldness of their mother's rank as they explore the den.
This still not 100% coordinated just yet, still falling down, wobbly back legs, and it makes this whole sighting absolutely precious. Oh, look how tender she is with them as they use her as a jungle gym and a chew toy. You can actually really see the love here. It's okay, it's all right, little one. Every now and again they realize that we're here. Let's go across to Brent and see what he's looking at, because I bet it's not as cute.
Cute is definitely the wrong adjective for the sausage tree pride male. Bad-tempered and engorged would be better options at this point in time. That's a female from the Salt Lick Pride that he's just chased off his wildebeest meal, and she probably killed it in the first place. It's also certainly not his first meal in the last 24 hours, but in spite of his very full belly, he is apparently just not in the mood to share, and keeping his kill hostage from the female. The line dynamics get really interesting during the migration, as normal rules don't seem to apply, and the pride split up and mix up as necessity dictates. The immense plains of the Masai Mara are ruled over by the ultimate kings of the savannah. Majestic male lion coalitions. They are in constant competition with one another to dominate both turf and female prides. Kipuri regularly encounters opportunistic males seeking to seize his rapidly expanding realm. But he doesn't take intrusions lying down. sooner is one male seen off, then another sneaks in the back door, ready to steal the privileges earned by Kipuli. This chancer is so daring that he mates with one of the Owino females right in front of Kipuli. And doesn't even react when Kipuli returns to find him in the throes of passion. The young male then seems to dare the larger lion to engage, but Kipuli refuses, putting the impertinent youngster back in his place with a paw swat. Meanwhile, the lady in question exits the stage, not amused by the testosterone contest. At this, Kipuli launches into a full-blown demonstration of his power, reinforcing that he is the king. Bearing just a small battle scar, Kipuli strides back to retrieve his prize. With just the right mix of feminine seduction and coyness, the Owino lioness sets the tone for an afternoon of romance and fiery passion. All necessary in the feline game of love. Now we wait and hold our breath for the next generation of Kipuli's bloodline to arrive. And he has got an absolutely obese belly. And even still, there was a female from the Salt Lake females with him earlier. And even though he is so fat, he could not even move. He refused to share and chased her off. So she disappeared. He's not too far off though. And he is looking very happy with himself. He keeps staring at the carcass. So now I'm just going to see if we can see the females. Now, of course, now we can't see the females at all. They've headed up to those. There were 3 females amongst those croton thickets there. And there was a 4th female well off in the distance, but now she's disappeared. No, can't see any of the females, and I don't think this little boy, well, not so little boy, is going to be doing much at the moment. I think he's going to sleep here in the drainage line with his wildebeest for the day until he gets hungry enough. So I think we're going to keep on looking for the females.
Hello everyone, we are sitting here in the Masai Mara and we have got some wonderful, wonderful news. Look at these tiny little lion cubs. This is the first time that we have ever seen them. We've been following this pride called the Sausage Tree Pride very closely over the last year, and one of the 5 lionesses has been missing for the last kind of 2 months. And we had suspected that she had moved away from the other 4 lionesses in order to give birth to these cubs and tend to them alone before introducing them to the rest of the pride. And we are so, so happy to be sharing this magical moment with you guys. My guess would be about 1.5 months to 2 months of age, but I could be wrong. I'm no expert when it comes to identifying little lion cubs, and I actually haven't seen any little lion cubs for so long. The fact that she's been missing from the rest of the pride for about 2 to 3 months means they could be probably around that age. In the brief time that we have spent with them this morning, we've noticed that one does seem to be a little bit more bold than the other. Oh, it's playtime. It looks like that one leading there is a boy. I think I can see 2 little spots below his tail there. These cubs were in all likely fathered by a male called Kipuli and his partner in crime. But recently, about 2 months ago, these lionesses have moved away from the kind of territory of those dominant males and come across these others. And if those other males find these cubs, sadly, they will kill them. So despite the fact that their mother is a lion, the king of the beasts here, it doesn't mean to say that she doesn't have her work cut out for her when it comes to looking after these little cubs. I think it's about a 10 to 15% chance as a general statistic for young lion cubs to make it to adulthood. So not good. I'm not too sure if these cubs have ever seen vehicles, and that is why they are looking so intently at us. And it's great that we get to start spending time with the predators from a young age like that, because we get to habituate them and educate them that we are of no threat.
I think those half-closed eyes give the queen a permanent scowl of angry disgust, despite her full belly and the restful morning she's had. Maybe Tundi doesn't like her spiky bed. The princess looks a bit more restful on the cosy grass cushion. Ah, I see Her Majesty has roused. She might be ill-tempered, but she can also be very caring, gentle, and affectionate. Look at those expressive, swishing tails. They communicate so much about a leopard's mood. While Tundi and Tlalamba are satiated and resting on this gorgeous morning, Hosana's belly is empty, and he seems to be on the hunt for breakfast.
Good morning, everybody. We've just found Hosana, and well, he's on the lookout for some breakfast. A warthog has just popped out, and he is busy watching it.
I don't think Hosana is going to get this right, simply because this warthog is too out in the open. Unless the warthog completely misses that Hosana is around and turns his back, which it looks like it's about to do. Here comes Hosana, trotting behind the mound. There he goes. Look, watch this. Now, Hosana is very clever. He's used the mound to close the distance to almost half with that warthog. That warthog is aware something is not quite right. The problem that he has is that it's really very, very open at the moment, and it makes it a bit tricky. There's a lot of monkeys alarm calling at him and squirrels, and so that will make this warthog a little more nervous about what's going on. He's also so full, and he's just come off a big impala carcass. Opportunity came along when their warthog was around, and so I don't think he's actually really wanting to hunt. Hosana is really coming into his own of late in the form of catching and stashing large kills, and earlier in the week, these are the events that unfolded. Soft dawn rays painted a scene of Hosana up a marula tree, with evidence of a large kill, proof of his growing prowess. Although no meal ever seems to be without its disturbance in these parts. With the beggars temporarily sent off, Hosana rearranged his leftovers and continued to enjoy his good fortune.
Later in the afternoon, what was left of the bushbuck had fallen out of the tree. And it seemed his boredom, rather than his hunger, now needed to be satisfied. Dangerous game to play in the presence of lurking opponents. With a full belly, Hosana was in no rush to retrieve the remains of his meal. But changed his mind later on. Just as the hyenas had lurked around his table, Hosana did the same around theirs. But to little consequence. But little Hosana, who is the male leopard that we're watching, unfortunately for him, his warthog meal has gone very, very far from where he is, and the chances of him catching up with it is probably quite slim. When the squirrel started to alarm call, that warthog started to get very, very nervous, and rightly so. It probably had picked up the fact that there was a leopard around. There he is, having a really good stretch and claw just to sharpen those weapons up for when he needs them. And you'll find that he'll probably find himself some shade as he's getting warm. He's got a full tummy, like I say, so he really looks in good condition and is as good a looking leopard as you're ever going to see. Interestingly enough, he's once again scent marking and scraping with the back legs, which is a new thing for Hosana these days. He's lifting his tail and he's spraying huge amounts of urine like a proper leopard would do. This is not him pretending at all. He really is starting to scent mark, and for our little chief, he's going to enter unfamiliar territory as he starts to grow up. Hosana finds himself precariously situated between two stages of development at the moment. Strapping and mature this individual may look, but in many regards, he's still a clownish cub, prone to the whims of youthful mischief and discovery even when he goes about the necessary chores of survival. While Hosana still enjoys moments of carefree adolescence, the demands of adulthood knock on his door. He has recently begun marking bushes earnestly, like an adult leopard, possibly doing it without even knowing why. He has also started the territorial practice of scraping his back legs after urinating. Yet just when we think he's assumed a mature, refined stance, his comedic tendencies re-emerge. The road to maturity for Hosana seems to be paved with self-made adventure.
Now it looks like we could be in a good spot here. Mom's bringing them straight towards us. We've already been so spoiled today with some incredible views, perfect morning lights. Here they go again. I mean, who do you think you are, young boy? Not even looking back over their shoulder, just going on their own little adventure. And I think it's led by that individual on the left, who, like I said a bit earlier, looks like he could be a young boy. But it could well be, like I said, a boy and a girl, and won't it be cool to see brother and sister grow up side by side? So we must try and not get too attached to them, which is near impossible to not get attached to these little fur balls. The other youngster seems to be a little bit less vocal and a little bit less bold. maybe he's saying, what is that in front of us? Who are those people? What are those things? It certainly is on a mission, though. Oh, is she going to pick it up? Are we going to get lucky? They're quite big to be carried, but it looked like Mom was thinking about doing that. They're so close to us now. This is so awesome. Yeah, you see, the courageous one is a boy. I definitely saw some little bumps there. It looks like there are two boys. Because we are very close to them now, I don't want to move around, but we just need to be extra sensitive due to the fact that these guys are tiny, and it could be the very first morning that they are being exposed to vehicles. Very good. We are going to stay put with these line and send you off to see what the others are getting up to.
It would seem the Queen is still a bit peckish. She may well take her Steenbok breakfast down to the ground because, well, it's probably just much more comfortable to feed down there than in the precarious and spiky branches of this knobthorn tree. There we go. Now for the dismount. A solid 8 out of 10. She's chuffing for Tlalamba to come. There's the naughty princess. For her, the new day is just far too exciting to waste on feeding rather than exploring. It's probably that yen for independence. The Queen, however, knows that her next meal could be days away, so she'll make the most of what's left here. While Tlalamba feigns the indifference of a regal youth. Growing up for wild mammals in so many ways mirrors our own experience, from dependent infant to naughty child, indifferent adolescent, and hopefully on to responsible adult. Join us for the next edition of the Cat Report to see how Hosana is handling his transition to maturity, how the Sausage Tree Pride cubs fare, and what is to become of the heirs to the North Clan.